evening. We're here with the City of Westminster, the Westminster Historic District Commission. The evening is Wednesday, August 6th at 6 p.m. And we are in City Hall on Emerald Hill in Westminster, Maryland. We're going to call ourselves.
Sorry about that.
Okay, good. In progress. We're going to call ourselves to order with our statement of authority. Westminster Historic District Commission derives its authority from Chapter 164, Article 9A of the City Code, which is authorized by the Maryland Code Annotated Land Use Article Division 1, Single Jurisdiction Planning and Zoning, Title 8, Historic Preservation. The qualifications of the Westminster Historic District Commission are on file at the City Administration Building at 45 West Main Street, and the file is open to the public. I'm going to take a quick minute and ask for roll call for tonight's attendees.
Chris Amadori, Kathy Beatty,
Kristen Masters Chair.
Mark Depot, the Director of Community Planning and Development.
Melissa Thorne, Economic Development Coordinator.
We could switch.
Okay. All right, great. All right, well, let's start with the approval of the minutes summary. Have you guys read both sets of minutes? Are we ready to make a motion? And we can discuss them if there's any problems.
Will they be accepted as presented?
Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Is there any discussion or concerns? Well, isn't it? Looks like I nominated myself last time to be chair. But I guess you could read it differently. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. All right, if there's no other discussion, can we move to approval of minutes? All in favor? Aye. And none opposed. Thank you very much, Melissa. Doug? All right, let's move on to old business. We'll start with 147 West Main Street. And Melissa, would you like to start us off on this discussion?
Sure, this one's second. Organized in here. All right. We are discussing the post-construction application for 147 West Main Street. On June 4th, the commission reviewed TC 2503, the pre-construction application, and found that the proposed work was eligible work under section 143-5B. The LPE construction services estimate of $7,500 was acceptable, and that the property was an eligible property. Furthermore, the commission granted preliminary approval of the historic tax credit certificate of eligibility for TC 2503 in the amount of $750. So, June 10th, the applicant submitted a post-construction application for the historic rehab property tax credits in the amount of $11,836.47. So that was an increase of about 63% if my math is correct, or $3,886.47 from the approved pre-construction amount. So staff has determined that the original eligible work reviewed and approved by the HDC was labor only to remove paint, sand, and siding, repair siding, caulk, and paint. And of course, the increase in the project cost is due to the paint and materials needed for the labor of the project. The proposed eligible work was completed within the 24 months after this preliminary approval granted by the commission. So staff recommends tonight that the commission review the provided post-construction application and other documentation provided by the applicant to determine whether, number one, the completed work is eligible work and in accordance with the preliminary approval of the certificate of eligibility, and two, that the originally approved amount of $7,500 or the updated requested amount of $11,836.47 is acceptable. And I have some draft motions presented and of course the attached application. And we have the owner and applicant here tonight if you have any questions.
I do. Were the tasks that caused the cost overrun any different than what was already outlined in the scope?
No, it was strictly the material, the paint that was needed, and it ended up getting Of course, the one coat of primer on everything and 2 coats of paint on everything, with the exception of the alley side, which had to go 3 just because of the way the sun hits it.
All right, do we have any questions from any other commissioners? So to be honest, I'm a historic house owner too, and I know my own project that I last ran through this process went over by 50%. And that was a lot. So I understand. Usually we ask if there's a big change order that it comes through in advance, so we have a chance to consider it, but in the big picture of things, this 63% sounds like a lot, but it's really not that much when it comes to this kind of project. And in my mind, this is just not out of bounds, you know. However, I would say if you were getting state tax credits, would not allow more than a 15% contingency. But we don't have to do that. We have our own authority. So what do you guys think?
How is this going to impact other projects? I mean, that's a significant amount of money that we have not budgeted for.
So it doesn't come out of our back pocket, thank goodness. Sometimes it comes from the city, and it's only 10%, so it raises the 10% level to like $1,100 rather than $750. Sort of a de minimis amount when it's only 10%. Now, my project was $167,000. We ran over by 50 grand, but that's because when we ripped up the bathroom, we found that everything was cut through over time. All the joists were cut through over time. And it was like one project at a time had cut through. Nobody knew that over time, all the joists would be cut through, and it was just hanging on by being pressurized. And that was crisis central. In fact, the entire side of that house had to be gutted out and redone. So, yeah. And I didn't have time to think about it because it was just, look what we found under the flooring. All right, well, can I ask for a motion? And it seems to me, it feels like our consensus is going towards number 2, which would approve the entire amount of $11,836 as being eligible and something that we would agree to as increase. Do I hear a motion at all?
So I make a motion to approve number 2. The draft motion number 2. Is that?
And so do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It passes. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry that happened, but
I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. It was a good learning experience for me also.
well, please come back.
It makes it again.
That's good.
See you.
Keep us in business here. It's not like we get a commission. We definitely do. All right. The door open. Okay, so we're gonna change up the order a little because I believe you are all here for item C, 287 East Main Street. Okay, good. So let's proceed to that, and because we don't need to be sitting around waiting for, we don't have anyone from the other property. So how about taking it away, Melissa? Explain to us what we have.
Sure. So we're looking at a historic structural report for 285-287 East Green Street. That's how it's all written up in the report because it was originally presented. I think it's actually 285 to 289.
I think so.
East Green Street there, so I wanted to make note of that. But the City of Westminster staff met with the Carroll County Bureau of Development Review, Ratcliffe Architects, and the building owner ZFP Capital LLC for a pre-submittal conference back on January 12th of 2023 regarding the proposed demolition and facade renovation concept plans. This 1.25 acre lot consists of 2 separate buildings that are both on 1 story. The buildings are used commercially, and as you may recall, Representatives attended the March 1st, 2023 Historic District Commission meeting for this proposed demolition, and it was the architectural concept that we looked at. So the commission discussed the proposed demolition and renovation plans at that time. Jim Mathias with Development Design Consultants submitted the historic structural report via email to staff on July 17th, 2025. And then the report was forwarded to the commission to perform an initial review. We did have discussions about tax credit applications, but to remind them of that. We also had discussed the potential of doing a site visit if necessary. So maybe that is deemed necessary site, maybe not. So I just wanted to bring that. As we have here tonight, the historic structures report was prepared by Ratcliffe Architects, and the report details the proposed demolition and a detailed history of the structure. So we would recommend as staff that the HDC review the proposed structural report and provide a recommendation of the report either with acceptance upon conditions, or denial. I do have a PowerPoint slide just to show you the location of the project again, right on the corner of Washington Road and East Green Street. That's near Mandy's Restaurant. And there's a lot of representatives here tonight for this project. We do appreciate you being here, and if there are any questions, feel free to ask all of us.
Okay, I do have a couple questions. One, just like to see research of some sort. Did you guys accomplish that in this report? We did record work. I'm asking the Ratcliffe Architects. So we did look under the historical trust, our list, we're not able to find anything. We might need mutual land transfer ownership.
I know we have, I'm sorry, we haven't done anything.
If that's possible, we would like to just see that, you know, like a little write-up of who owned it, and it could tell you what maybe happened there before this relatively late factory. Whether it was owned like private homes or what the story is, but what that land had been used for. I think that's a good addendum that should be added.
I think the original use was the Westminster Shoe Factory.
That would be good to know too.
That's in the report, isn't it?
Yeah, but that was. Then it should be a short deed search.
Yeah. Yeah.
That should be real easy, and you know, you can do that online. Have you ever done a deed search before?
They tried allowing me for that.
You just look it up under the Maryland.
Yeah.
It's a quick and dirty thing and something like that. It'd be nice to know if, you know, it was always conveyed as a single parcel. Did it have an original White's level number? Was, you know, part of the original planning, or is it just outside? I'm not entirely sure myself, so I would just like to know that. Secondly, Ms. Beatty found a small error.
Yeah, if you can you pull up the historic district map showing where it's located?
Sure.
I think they're off by just like the wrong side of the alley.
You're looking for the zoning historic district.
No, this one.
Oh. I don't know if I could pull that up easily. Let me look.
It's on page 7.
Like on the screen, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
is all I'm saying.
So just on page 7, it's located incorrectly, we think.
It looks like it should be between the
It's located incorrect.
The arrow.
Yeah, it's like on the wrong side of the alley. It should be between the alley and Green Street. But it's on the sort of the north side of the alley.
It's actually pointing at parcel on Main Street.
Is that a city of Westminster map?
Yeah, the city of Westminster provides this. We have that big one we take with us to the fair.
Right, but I don't know who located it on there.
You know, it's somebody.
So it's basically, so the dot
The
is
dot
on
just
the
needs
right
to move-
property.
Yeah, it just needs to
Okay.
move over. Right. It's just on the wrong side of the alley.
It just doesn't quite indicate the right property. It's simple, like
Move it down.
scooches. Certainly don't think that. All right. Other than that, it's my humble opinion, y'all did a great job. I'm very impressed. It's hard to make a shoe factory interesting, but we read it all and loved it. And we may be the only 3 people in the whole city who can tell you that, but we did read and love this, and it's well presented, well done. Thank you very much.
I was just curious because this apparently started like 2.5 years ago. Is property still being used or is it vacant now? Obviously, when these photos were taken, there was a business in it.
So there's a business still operating, out of
Oh,
but not out of the building that's being demoed, but the building, the larger building behind it is still in operation by an embroidery company. A uniform embroidery company.
And the intention is down to the ground.
Just,
Roughly.
No.
Just that one.
No. So the one building that fronts immediately on Green Street, that's coming entirely down. What I'll call the shoe factory, there's a small building, addition along Washington Road. That's coming down and about 30 feet of the frontage along Green Street is coming off. So the majority of that shoe factory is gonna remain.
Is there a way we can get a very simple stylized plan that just says this will remain? So that we know
We can start.
for the long term, like.
So one is to remain and one is
Right,
to.
50 years, somebody's gonna say that old blankety blank place.
Yeah, they have a site,
They just wanted it in the report.
they have a site plan submitted. I think if we just attach that as an exhibit, it'll show it's being removed and it's being maintained.
This could go on the record, and in 50 years, when somebody wants to rip down all the nice stuff you're putting in next year or two. We wanna be able to say, well, there's a core of some historic stuff you should be trying to avoid, rather than reinventing a wheel. Okay. So do we have any other questions for this team while we have them? No, good job. Good job. Good job. All right. So now's the time where I ask for a motion in a second, and if we have any further questions, we ask the last little bit before we say this is acceptable or not. So I'm asking for a motion.
To accept the report.
Yeah, accept the report with the 2 additions that we asked for, or 3. Revised map,
deed search.
deed
They
search,
search
and the historic core that's intended to remain.
I so move.
Second.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Yes, by consensus, so. I hope we're clear and thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Hope we use this as an example.
Yeah.
You guys got it too.
Good job.
Good job, yes, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thanks a lot.
Good night.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
Okay. Now as we move on to item B. We have 219 East Main Street Historic Structures Report Review. I can tell that Dean Camlin and Associates worked on this, so let me ask Melissa where we are on this.
Sure, so we do have a bit of history. The property owner, Michael Greiser, applied for his demolition permit, May 6th. And, staff and Chair McMasters met for a site visit right after that time, the end of May on the 23rd. The owner was presented with all of the information on tax credits and presented with the historic structures application. Just to detail, we've received a few drafts. So the first one being June 2nd, and then an update on June 28th. The Historic District Commission formally reviewed the report for the July 2025 meeting last month and recommended that Mr. Greiser review the report requirements and update the document with more detail. So Dean Robert Campbell and Associates was hired to help with this project and prepare this updated report, which was submitted both on July 15th and 17th to city staff. And that was sent out to the Historic District Commission for our typical initial review, which was the second initial review on July 30th of this last month. So with this, we have had feedback from the owner, Mr. Greiser, about concerns with the urgent need to remove this structure. And even though he's not able to be here tonight, he's hoping that a decision could be made to move forward with that. And so staff recommends that the Historic District Commission review the structural report for 219 East Main Street and provide a recommendation of acceptance upon conditions or denial. And the attached report is available for your review. And if you have any questions, Mark and I will help answer these.
So has the scope of the demolition request changed at all?
It has not. It has remained the rear summer porch only, correct? I guess I could make some special notes. The application should be printed out. Kathy, you did say that. I'm trying to remember if it was signed or not, but there was an application for the report. What we've been doing, but that needs to be added at a minimum. And also, I believe it was Kathy had asked about finalizing the review for the citations, as well as adding the 1877 map of Westminster, which was from the Illustrated Atlas of Carroll County, which has been included, as well as finding a color version of the Sanborn map from, it says 1877.
Yeah, that's gotta be wrong, because there was no Sanborn in 1877.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks wrong too, so that's.
So that's either the Atlas or the wrong date on the Sanborn. So
Yeah.
I need to clarify that.
So, but you can see at least the porch has a frame structure of 2 stories listed in whichever map that was from. I believe it was the one he references here on this page 8, but I also don't see a date for that. Maybe it's referenced earlier in the document. Well, we can look at that. And then
This is where it's also referenced on
Okay.
page 9. It says 1877 Sanborn.
Okay. And then the side width was added to the scaled drawing, which is only the summer porch. It is not the floor plans of the project. The floor plans is an additional expense.
I would understand.
That wasn't deemed. Because he's not taking down the entire house, just a portion of it, the cost prohibited that for him.
Sure, I
As
understand.
far as hiring somebody to do that. So I think those are the most notable.
I guess I would like to see some of the other Sanborns, because if you look at the porch on that, it's not the full width of the back of the house. So clearly that porch has changed.
Yeah, this photo has been filled in,
Yeah,
right?
this is what they found. The back.
No, they're removing the side porch
Do you think
I
that
thought they were moving the back.
bump out in the back was taken down?
long ago.
Yeah.
That's gone. It's the side porch that they're taking down. But I think it was filled in this little.
Are they going to put a new porch up or are they just gonna take it down?
The proposed, and that wasn't included in this update either. So sometimes when you get updates, you lose things, don't you?
Yeah.
Does this not include so he had included in a previous update the
Maybe
a view of the front porch, Chris, and that had included not exactly like a rendering of the rear porch, but it was the same materials.
It's gonna be correct.
So he's gonna put a new, he's gonna try to duplicate that,
He would like to. Yes.
duplicate the summer porch, okay.
Right.
Just turn it down.
Exposed summer.
Exposed, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he's
enclosed.
he's just gonna build it.
All right, so to me, I think we do have the bones of a much improved report. And I do have to say that, I think this is really almost there. And personally, I could go with this as long as there were conditions to add. As Kathy pointed out, we do need some of the later Sanborns, especially to explain this gap here. So there must have been some later construction that should be on a later Sanborn. 1919 was the next, was another one.
No, there were several, I think the earliest was 82, then it was like 87, 97, 08, 1910.
So we should at least see when this next Sanborn appears. There should be like a series of Sanborns. And see when this got filled in, because that's being proposed to be removed, and it would be good to know when it was filled in. My guess, you're betting people, that it got filled in the 19 teens for plumbing. Frankly, they closed in a lot of those second floors bathrooms. So,
And since we just talked to the previous applicants, there's no chain of title.
no, we should ask for a chain of title. That's part of our requirements.
And I'm assuming, you said he did do the actual form, because nowhere in this does it even mention who owns the
I believe
property.
we do have that, yeah. So an application on number 3.
And also a title sheet is requested, so we can see who did the work. And that's simple to do, a title sheet. That's also required in our documentation. All right. Anything else that we'd like to see filled in? I think fundamentally, we could just get that little piece of history there when the porch was completely filled in. I think we would be in good shape to approve this as
You mean
documentation.
closed the porch, is that what you're talking about?
No, if you take a look at this,
When did this little area?
and also to correct the figure
Oh,
date
Yes, yes.
arrangement. See, this
okay,
is the only historic document they provide for us,
Okay.
but we know this is filled in on the side.
okay,
So there would be a later Sanborn. And they should just present the whole series of Sanborns for this building, just like they did here, so we can see how it evolved being enclosed. On this chunk, now we'll never know when that plywood went
Yeah,
up,
this-
whatever that was.
This looks like this detail just blown up, so this is the whatever Sanborn that is.
I believe it's the 1887 sample.
Okay,
That was the one referenced in the original
okay, so
instruction.
it's the type of,
Yeah,
said in that 77.
but these things I think are easy enough done. But these are just a couple little editing. I don't think that it's a big deal that the entire building didn't get planned out, because they are only demoing that.
Right.
So to me, this is enough with the corrections, but how do you guys feel? Are there any other spots you'd like to fill in for history wise?
I mean, I think we asked for, I mean, they already, the other information exists, it just has to be, combined.
Added.
And then that one, yeah, I mean, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think if they can fill in all those holes, then we'll be okay.
Do I entertain a motion?
I do want to entertain a motion. What do you guys say?
I don't know how to word it.
Did you give us a suggestion on motions? No, you.
Do you think you could modify the recommendation?
Well, why don't we use the wordage from the last one where we had asked for corrections or additions, but basically approved it.
Oh,
Approval pending the corrections that we've.
yes.
That was.
I'll go back and listen to the video if you wanna say so moved.
Okay, that was number 2.
Yeah,
That was correction, that was resolution or recommendation number 2 from the last project.
Right.
So is that what you're,
recommendation number 2 was the post-construction tax credit you're referring to?
No, you're talking
I'm
about.
talking about the shoe factory?
You mean item B,
Item B. No.
Item
this is
C.
item B.
move to item second, yes, okay, yeah.
Shoe factory had the same little issues, so
So was that moved by a commissioner?
Wait a second. You're talking about the first on Main Street, 147 Main Street, that was number 2 that we, right?
no, the Green Street
We're
project.
just shoot for the.
I thought we did that, that's what we've been talking about, number 2.
We aren't talking about that, but we need a motion that models
Right.
number C, letter C, item C, which was the Green Street project. We just want the same verbiage to go in, that it's approved, but it has to have these modifications. But Melissa will look it up, she'll figure it out. All you have to do is say so moved.
So moved. That's
Yeah. Okay, so moved by Sandra.
So Melissa will figure it out, but she'll get the verbiage saying that this documentation is approved pending the,
It's a recommendation of acceptance of the documentation subject to certain
The corrections and
conditions.
additions.
Yes.
Was that seconded?
pending the acceptance of the corrections, which includes land, deed research, and the correction of the Sanborn map on page 9, and
Inclusion of additional.
additional Sanborn maps showing when that entire porch was created. So it's basically addition of all the Sanborns available.
Okay.
Yes. Any other additions we have? Oh, an addition of a title sheet. Okay. All right, so are we ready to vote? All in favor? Carries by consensus.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad to have the move along. I understand it is a safety issue. And of great concern. Okay, great. So let's talk a little bit about new business. Yahoo, item G. Mayor and common council. Meeting preparation. So we requested a work shop or a working meeting with the mayor and common council. And part of that is just to brief them on what our plans have been for the 250th, as far as we know for the entire city, not just us, but other organizations as well. And truly my goal and hope is that they listen to our preparations and offer to be helpful. And if they have other things that really are within our ability and scope of what we do, we're all on page because we're only a year away at this point, less than a year really. And so it's I think it's incumbent on us to meet with the mayor and common council just to make sure everybody feels comfortable with the extent of celebrating we're doing and commemorating. And to make sure that, nobody's disappointed. I think my biggest concern is that we're not doing a parade. And I think that's one thing people have come to almost expect. And I just don't see us being able to do that with our small number of people. So, if that's gonna be a problem, we're gonna have to figure out some other way of doing that. And I want the mayor and common council to kind of understand we're doing the best we can. But if they have other needs and wants, we're ready to get on board as long as we have the means to do it, some way to do it.
Well, wouldn't the whole Carol 250 group be involved in a parade rather than just us?
Well, they're for the whole county, we're just for us.
Right, but
Westminster.
we're part of that, group, and if everybody wants, you can't have every town in the county having a parade on July 4th. I would think you'd have one somewhere.
Well, let's bring it up to them.
But you're also only a month away from the Memorial Day parade, so doing two big ones in that time frame would be a challenge.
Plus, all the kid groups are at the school. No bands. Limited Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. It's just a tough time to have a parade. We'll take that for vacation times. But again, I don't want to flip those.
Opening ceremony with a town band, I mean, we're gonna.
Well, let's kind of bring these ideas to our 250th anniversary topic, but for now, are you guys gonna be able to come on Monday?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, if you need us.
I do need you. I
I
do
see,
need
yes,
you.
I believe, that's
Okay.
the 11th.
And
Yes.
we'll come up with some sort of an agenda.
So for this invitation, this is a 10-minute presentation
Okay.
during the council meeting.
Oh, it's during the open council.
Yeah, so at
It
the
is.
very beginning of the meeting, they have presentations, and I believe that's where district commission is gonna be placed. So at the beginning of the meeting, you'll be able to present
I will be
Yeah.
talking as fast as I can.
I'm sure you needed all of us for this, but you know.
Well, I still want you guys, especially since it's right in the beginning, at least it's not at the end where we have to sit all night. and wait.
Yeah, exactly. So true. But I do believe there's plenty of opportunity for the mayor and common council to give some feedback at that point, or at least have it marinate, you know, so that they can then provide feedback when they,
You said you got rid of all the pens, do you have a few left for them?
I do.
Maybe we could amend the minutes, the last set of minutes, which has like the breakdown of everything we're doing for the 250th. Where did I see that? There was a good breakdown somewhere. And maybe not.
Yes, we have the May. Is that what you're talking about? The May?
Yeah, I saw it. One of the sets of minutes had a good breakdown of each topic we were talking about. Well, that's all right. Maybe I'll come up with something to hand out.
That's a good idea. There had been discussion about inserting sort of a signature series within some of our larger already existing festivals and strolls. Do you want to have a phone call tomorrow? We can talk about that.
Let's do that.
Okay, I think we should.
Yeah, I'd like to sort of understand what that's about, but it sounds like doable.
But not to the effect that it's like a really heavy lift. It's not a heavy lift. Staff would be willing to help. Great, of course.
Great.
But something that might dovetail all of these things in nicely with the celebration leading up to July and maybe into August. Of course, the kickoff is gonna be in September this year, really.
Yeah, well, let's close out this new business.
Okay.
With the meeting with the mayor and common council. Do we need to think about that anymore other than,
Are you gonna do the presentation? Yeah.
oh yeah, I'll do it, no problem. Especially if you have a gun to my head in 10 minutes is my favorite kind of presentation, because all I do is
Elevators.
just talk as fast as possible. All right, great, thank you, end of new business. So the implementation plan, that would be number 5 on the list. Ooh, have we had some fun getting going? So we announced EAC was our contractor at the last meeting, but since then I've had to sit down with them and given them the magic box of resources. I have gotten contacted, like if I don't respond within 2 hours to my email, Elizabeth is contacting me directly saying, we're waiting for Chris's comments. And I don't think she knows me as well as I thought she did. Or maybe I've changed since I retired, but at any rate, she knows how to get me on speed dial, and it's I do best with texting, so I've already had some comments about the fields that we've been putting in to match them up with the week's book. So I was able to image clip that and give them the e-link to the week's book on our city's website. I have to say that in our discussions, people have been sort of impressed by the fact that we already have a really good base from Christopher Weeks. But it's paper-based on a book that's no longer printed. And so this bridging into the new world of GIS and being able to have information at our fingertips. Everybody I've talked to has said, that is so cool.
Well, there's a lot more properties than are included in Weeks' book, just because he did that now. So I think you can probably get the rest of those files from IHP or Historical Society used to have paper copies of all of those in their library in order by, because the numbers are random in Weeks' book, but they had those files arranged by street numbers.
Really?
Yeah, so they had a whole file, 2 file drawers that were just like, here's Main Street and they're all like, here's Green Street and they're all like,
I know the Webster's Annex didn't make it in the book, but I know all that research was done.
yeah, so a lot of his files are in the library at HSCC, but are they closed, they're doing work or something?
Yeah, they're close, well, I think they'll entertain appointments.
Okay.
Anyway, I have put out feelers through the National Register, folks that still work in DC, and asked them if they actually know anybody who's done this with the National Register. And the answer is yeah, this is groundbreaking, and someone told me from the Register, we may have the best documented district in the nation. And we're in a sweet spot. We're too small, we don't have enough people who even know to do this as a city. If we're too big, like LA or Chicago, there would never be enough resources to do this kind. So in fact, we're the perfect little community to get things digitally out there and in the hands of people who paid for it. So to me, I love it. So it's been pretty exciting. So. Anything else on the implementation plan?
I just wanted to note that the GIS portion was moving along nicely too with our staff, city staff. And I can see an email floating around about the fields to include. So
And I wanted to make sure that
yeah,
at a minimum, the fields that are evident in the book translate into the
okay.
So for example, whether it's a public or private establishment should be on there, and they didn't have that. And they want, everybody wants an example, so I clipped an image onto the response.
I think I'm late to the party because I was not included in the original email.
Oh,
I am just noting that,
no.
but that's all right because you haven't handled it. I trust you, so I'm totally fine.
Well,
Carry on,
that's
seriously.
wrong, because you're the city and I'm
It's
just
okay.
an advisor, so.
But we're working on contracts behind the scenes and agreements behind the scenes to make everything official, and that's coming along just as you would expect. But it's coming along, and we're just excited. We're making notes to our downtown business association about it, and looking forward to the community outreach aspects of this project.
So we have already done a little bit of community outreach, quiet, unofficially. One of the folks that I worked with Robert Mountain School has offered to be an advisor on the African American side of it, which is the hardest part because there's the least amount of documentation. And so that contact has already been offered to a EAC, and I'm hoping they'll follow through on that. Unfortunately, the original Robert Mountain School on Church and Charles Street is just outside the historic district by a spitting distance. I know, and of course the current Robert Mountain, which many people remember fondly, is just outside the historic district. So we need to start making a list of stuff that we would like to add at some point as an addition. So, because that would be in an addition or it's a different application, along with William Winchester Home, which I've been reading about recently, and it was built before William Winchester and
Yeah, he bought it, yeah.
by the Winters family, so it's older than I thought it was.
Well, the White family,
The White family.
White's level.
Yeah.
If you've got Carol's Heritage, Joe Getty's book, there's a lot on White's level and its restoration in there.
Interesting. All right, so anyway, it's been going along well. Contractors certainly has a drumbeat and is pushing things along as quickly as they can. Great. So, I'm sure the rest of the commissioners will be involved with doing some of the editing and proofing at some point. All right, 250th National Anniversary. Let's hit our topics. How are we doing on the street signs?
We're good. Slow and steady, right? Wins the race. So we have an image that was, so we've been in discussions with our streets and roads team who are willing to install signs if we get the signs. We've reached out for one quote. It was pretty high for all of them, as to be expected. So we had the GIS team look at all of them, which amounted to 157 signs. And that includes the double ones, as you can see in this image. But I guess the question is, I think I should ask or request, that there is a list determined of the others, like maybe just Main Street as a backup plan, if we're not able to do them all at once, maybe it's a phased project. But this, so this is of course in Town, but this was the one that was motioned to be the best, ones we're looking for. But I don't believe we discussed what happens when it's the double, so if you guys are okay with the same double look, the bottom as well, because a lot of the intersections, of course, have 2 signs. If you would be okay with that, our streets superintendent wanted to make sure that that was something you'd be okay with.
So, I mean, but you have the 2, you've got the cross streets on the, what's the bottom?
I would ignore the bottom, that says post office.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, yeah, that's, okay, so,
One
yeah, the cross.
decoration on the bottom one and decoration on the
Oh,
bottom.
yeah,
Yeah, just the cover 2.
I think that works fine.
Seems like we should get a deal for having a big one.
Sure, I
Still.
considered that, but yeah, so we can talk about that. I just don't feel comfortable saying prices out loud in case we wanna make it the most competitive bid. I don't wanna share that.
We don't really need to know, so
Okay,
that's fine.
okay.
So great, Melissa, this is great, I can see it happening. I just think this is so important for people to know where the historic district even is. Anything else on signs?
I still haven't heard about the welcome signs yet. They should be coming in soon. I would imagine, cause we ordered those the end of June. So I guess they have another month. I
Yeah.
think it might have been 2 months. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And who puts them in? Our own people?
No, they will, the part of the contract was they install it.
Okay.
This one, yes.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait, okay. Commemorative plaques for Revolutionary era homes. We looked at that at all. Grace was taking the lead on that.
I think we're still waiting for some sample or.
Okay, I think I might have to step up and start thinking hard. 'Cause I kind of know what I want. So
Well, that'll make it easier for you.
maybe I'll figure out something and, cause I'm already picturing it in my head, so that's,
Somehow I don't think she'll be terribly upset.
okay. Then you move on to,
Well, do we have a list of I can't recall, did we ever put together a list of the revolutionary?
We did.
Okay, we do, okay.
we have,
We know
Mr.
exactly,
Beatty did,
we know
yeah.
exactly how many we need and,
yeah, it's less than 40.
okay.
They're just, what I'm envisioning is just little brass plaques. With the logo on
I
it.
mean, and that's assuming that all the property owners are willing to let you
Yeah.
put it on their buildings.
We should
Number
probably put a letter out to those
Something
property
to,
owners.
for asking for a response if you're willing to
The only
accept and
one we
install.
talked about as an exception was one at the William Winchester's home. Cause he's outside the district, but definitely an important.
Yeah, it's the only one that actually was here during the American Revolution, so missing that one would be kind of tough.
And they're not in the city, but we do service them water and sewer,
What? They're not.
so we
even
might
in
be
the
able to make
state.
an exception.
honorary.
Yeah,
I know they're not in the district, but they're not even
They're
in the
not.
state.
They're not.
Oh my land. Oh, let's make it
Weirdest horror.
I know,
weirdest borders.
but just say they are.
Yeah,
Because question it.
we just wanted, these are all honorific, so.
That's fair.
Honorific, okay. Okay. Commemorating the bell sign in Belgrove Square. So that's been ordered. And did I hear it had arrived already at the city maintenance building?
Yes.
So it's here?
Usually, I should have checked today, cause I wasn't around last week. They were gonna put it in, just the post and cover it.
Yep.
Or they were just gonna put the post in and leave the top off. So there might even be a post in the ground. So you should drive by.
And the Daughters of the American Revolution have sent out invitations for September 20th. 2 o'clock? I think 2 o'clock. And I've gotten in with the person who's sending out all those invites, so if there's anyone special you want, it's an evite. I don't know that we're doing any paper invites. All evite. And we do have a proclamation drafted by the DAR ladies nationwide to go with the sign. And we had asked Melissa to ask the mayor if she will read that proclamation.
And I've reached out to our city administrative assistant
Good.
who is doing that.
So you
Yeah.
did you get a draft of it?
I haven't seen a draft, no.
Okay, because that exists.
Okay, yeah, send it over to us.
Yeah, and you, if you're gonna ask the mayor to read it, you might wanna give her the copy of it. It is prepackaged, you know,
For sure.
says how wonderful the DAR is. But that proclamation, it's not,
You have to
the
ride up on a horse and jump off and read the proclamation.
no, the DAR is not requiring that. However, you know, I know we have a certain format for our proclamations. And I'm certain this is not gonna match that, but it might be close. And that's what the DAR is.
Just pick out her pearls and white books.
We all have to break out our fascinators and. So it'll be a basically pretty short program. We're trying to keep it less than 40 minutes. Because we're not asking the city to provide us with seats or anything like that, so even 30 minutes would be good. And I know that our region is handling all the officios, asking them to keep their comments really, really short. Because, you know, as a standing thing, people get, at least there's shade there. And there are a few chairs there and the benches in the background.
You don't want chairs or an area that's set up or anything like that.
I'll double check with Jennifer. She'll want some podium sort of thing in the PA system.
Yeah,
And probably a few chairs for the officials, but we weren't gonna ask for chairs for the multitudes.
okay.
Yeah, remember we met on site and discussed these particulars.
But she had the podium.
She was gonna bring her own
Yeah,
speaker
I think
system.
that's what we need to understand. What is she bringing? What does she need us to do? Is she bringing the chairs specifically for them? Do we want additional chairs out for the public? I mean,
Let's talk
this is
with
something
them.
need
We
to
can loop
look at.
back with her. I'll make sure to do that.
Or at least let the public know that they need to bring chairs.
Yeah.
So I went to that thing over at the jail for the lynching project.
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't tell anybody there were not any chairs there, and after like an hour and a half, people were kind of wilting in the sun.
yeah, I always bring my chair to stuff like that, but if you have to hike away for parking.
Yeah.
Alrighty, talk with Jennifer, cause she's got this whole thing figured
Sure.
out and she's the regent. I'm just helpful. That's all I'm being, is helpful.
We provided her with a list of names for invites.
I don't know, have you done that?
I think when you talk to her, we need to.
I know,
She already sent me her invitation that I sent to Erica to invite. So if there are others to be invited, I believe I did ask her to include them as well.
Erica to reach out to let
To
her.
those folks, yeah, and so I'm definitely have on my list to follow up with both Jennifer and Erica to make sure that the right folks are included. And if there's anybody else you would like us to reach out to on behalf of the city, we can do that as well. So
Okay.
please let us know.
I'm trying to package this as a partnership, because you guys, the city of Westminster, are contributing quite a bit. The installation is worth quite a bit. And you know, it's your land. Basically, so I'm trying to make sure this, but it does sort of tend to become a DAR function, so it's, you gotta kind of keep bringing the wheel back into the middle of the road, you know, to make sure.
Yeah.
There's the political side, you invite some Carroll County people, you
We will.
invite, yeah, so, well, we'll talk to her.
We will be inviting some state representatives too, probably.
Yeah.
Jennifer's open to that kind of thing. There's a difference between inviting them and inviting them to speak, you know what I mean? And that's, I think, where she's worried about getting too long a list,
Yeah.
because speakers tend to blow VA and people are trying to not wilt. But it is September 20th, maybe the weather won't be so horrible.
Okay.
And we did kind of decide on no refreshments. We we approached the Church of the Brethren, and they are a peace church, and so they won't be celebrating the 250th this year. I'd be ashamed because they have great facilities, so.
What's that almost?
So, anyway, that's where I know we are, 20th of September, please put it on your calendar, I hope to see y'all. I think I'll be there. I was actually scheduled to be in Michigan that weekend, but I'm beginning to think more and more I'll be there. Cause I'm gonna be coming back the 17th from Greece. And help me remember, I won't be here for the next HTC meeting. Press,
What, month are we talking about?
September, next
September already.
Oh, look.
That would be the 3rd.
We'll put that on the end,
Alright.
commissioner comments.
We'll talk about that all.
Alright. So, back to our list of 250th preparations, the Liberty Tree plaque. Ms. Bates has Beatty has worked with us on some wordsmithing. And, Kathy, do you wanna talk a little bit about what you've done?
Yeah, you guys asked me to sort of play with it, so I did. So I think I took the original and I gave you 2 more options. Not sure they're any better than the original, they're just a little different. And then I had the crazy idea of doing something, you know, Monty Python, and now for something completely different.
I do really like this. But this is gonna be costly.
Not terribly, I'm not picturing anything as huge as the Civil War trail markers.
You wouldn't consider like Oasis, like.
It doesn't have to be that big, you could make them, you could make a smaller one that sort of goes on 2 small stakes, rather than a huge one like the trail markers. If you've looked at the Loop House one behind Sheldon, you know, that's just a pedestal, and it's still pretty big, so you could do something on a smaller scale. I have to admit, I didn't know much about Liberty trees, and not being local, I knew absolutely nothing about Maryland's Liberty tree. So I kind of got caught up in the story and went down the rabbit hole of research, and
It's cool.
it is cool.
It was cool.
So it was just a concept. If you know, if we want the smaller, simpler one, I'm good with that.
Do we? I was gonna, we're actually getting like. Never mind.
Apparently these
From this tree.
No,
getting a
apparently-
sap or.
apparently these are descendants of a descendant, so they're like
Okay.
grandchildren of the
Grandchildren.
So do we wanna say that in here? I mean, for something like.
We could, I mean, it's a whole statewide project. And again, I didn't know how, I didn't wanna go too far.
I mean, I like this, but I mean, if that's the point of it, not just like a poplar tree. Like, I thought maybe that would be.
No, they are, it says Liberty Tree descendant, I mean, they are
Right.
indirectly, you know, they're a grandchild, I guess you would say. But I thought it was really cool that the original tree was there until 1999. Cause that was, you know, when I read the first one, that was, you know, my questions were, is it still there? So it was just a thought as.
I love this, you guys. To me, this is right in tune with maximalist. But
You know, they come in, you can pretty much.
it's gonna be more than a little plaque.
Yeah, but that's big enough, well, we could.
I guess the question say, can you guys come up with the money to do this? If I envision this is $2 to $3 grand.
Well, they can all say no.
Can't imagine we spent that much on the one for the Loop House, that was an Eagle Scout project, so. And there's a company down in Eldersburg that did that for us.
Are you getting all these signs for the Bell Grove and the street signs and all that, that's not coming from the same company, right?
No, they competitively bid through Melissa.
Okay, so they're all different okay, I was gonna say, because maybe they give us a bulk rate or something on all the signs.
Or, you know, if we use a local company, maybe they'll give us some kind of a discount and be part of the 250th, or maybe the Carroll 250 group would. I don't know if they have any funding, probably not, but you never know.
No, but
It's funding.
I just found an announced chunk of money from Preservation Maryland on the 250th.
Hmm.
So maybe this would apply to that.
The assistance on Main Street
Yeah.
one. That is for commercial buildings only.
I didn't read the details.
Mhm.
Well, Melissa, you ought to have fun with that.
But
I had Melissa send it to you.
Yeah.
But,
So this was really just, you know, an idea, kind of a different concept of which do we like, which do we.
I love this. What do you guys think? I think we should shoot for the moon on Monday.
Yeah.
I love this. What do you guys, as staff, do you think it's too much? I mean, the city has made quite the contribution to this whole thing so far.
I think it's your presentation before the mayor and common council.
Shoot for the moon.
Again, I keep telling you, this is your chance, don't,
Okay.
I wouldn't hold back.
I mean, all you could do say no, right? So-
Exactly.
So in our,
And somebody might lose some, or you might get lucky and get them all, so who knows? You won't know unless you bring it up.
absolutely, well, some of this stuff is already ordered, so like, what are they gonna say?
Yeah.
It's too late to say no, but.
I think it's important to show what you've accomplished, what's happening. That this is just, let's continue this pace. This is the next thing on the list, so yeah, it's,
And this link at the bottom, Melissa, is just the link to Library of Congress where you can get the high resolution version of the image.
lovely.
Cause I just downloaded the smallest one to throw it in as a sample, but they had a really high resolution TIFF that you can download. And there were colored images on Google Images, they all seem to be from the St. John's College archives, and I didn't wanna get into getting rights and licensing and stuff, so that's why I went with something from the Library of Congress. And this particular image is rights free.
Great. Real quickly, let's address the logo issue, Melissa. Have you found out any more than we heard at the 250th convening meeting?
Only from Kathy and I discussed, and we did find some online research that it says it's, what is it called, public
Public
domain?
domain because it was created by the government.
Right, so that is listed. However, do you remember the lawsuit information? What was that?
So that was Michelle Jocelyn, who
Yeah.
is the state coordinator for 250th. And she claimed in the meeting that the American 250th folks came after Carroll County for using part of its image. Carroll County, Maryland.
I didn't think it was Carroll County. Is that the one it was? Cause that's the part where I spaced, and that would have been a good time. I thought it was Lexington
No,
or something.
here, it was
It
Carroll
was
County.
us.
Not us, but the county level.
Interesting, because when this came out, they were like, we want everybody to use this, cause we want to brand it.
So maybe a call to Michelle for clarification would really be important
Yeah.
before we get this plastered all over the place.
Yeah, I want it to be plastered and
That's what we're gonna
take it out.
Because I love our logo. We really worked hard on this and I think it's really quality.
And that's why I wanted to
Here,
use
that- There's that issue.
the color one here. I didn't happen to have a copy of the color version, but it also lets us add some color to the black.
Well, I understood that commission on a federal level is not really federally funded. They are a private group because there is really no federal funding for this initiative. So they are sort of like a friends of kind of group. And friends of do hold copyright to all kinds of stuff.
I don't know.
All right, maybe I'll call Michelle. And we should do like a conference call.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna wanna know because you're gonna be wanting it on walking tour brochures and pens and everything else, so.
Good thing you gave them all away.
I'm not talking about.
But
Who made the
I mean, they were encouraging everybody to, you can download the logo for free and in
Well,
various sizes and more formats and
Over,
we modified it. and
we've
we made it our
modified,
own.
yeah.
That might be the reason they don't like it, the modification. It might need to be the same.
Yeah, did Carroll County modify it, and that's what they're claiming that
She's
you're gonna use?
a little foggy.
Okay,
Now, I don't remember Carroll County doing that because they had a student doing a logo, which has been used. And then they had another graphic designer do different variations for every single community in the county.
Well, and like the DAR has a version of this with their initials on it, so does the SAR. You know,
Oh, okay,
a
okay,
lot of places have adopted this
yeah,
and added their name.
Let's find out what Michelle says,
yeah,
Yeah,
just because it was brought up and, we should address it because we do not want any kind of negativity or blowback on the city because of our activities.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know if it's negative against us, I would say it's the reverse.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's some confusion there, that's for sure. Okay, so this is great, Kathy. Love it.
All right.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, event programming for the 250th meeting updates. Do you have anything for us?
I really don't. I actually printed out our 250th, what we were at with the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area, to see if there's anything. Noting, I'll just say that I have a copy of notes from that meeting if anyone's interested in seeing them, or I can send them out via email.
So as far as official, I think the Bell Grove Square event is our first official city 250th event. Even though Lexington and Concord was like last April, Bunker Hill was like last May. So we're a little late, but not that late. Most people are gonna think we're ahead because of the Declaration of Independence will be next year. So. Hi. And then we thought we had completed our logo, our entrance signs, and our May proclamation, so we will continue and do that. Any questions? Melissa, do you think now's the time to talk a little bit about that convening meeting we went to, or should that come under commissioner activities?
No, it's fine.
Now it's fine. So Melissa and I went to Heart of the Civil War Heritage meeting convening for the 250th down in Mount Airy. And it was a room packed. They did not have enough chairs for everybody there. I was pretty stunned at seeing how much participation was happening. Was it built to be just Carroll County or was it all three counties?
All three.
Okay, so people came from Washington County and Frederick. But the room was clearly not big enough, and because it was in Mount Airy, it was heavily Carroll County. And I have to say, I've never been more proud of being in the city of Westminster. Because we had concrete plans, we started, some finished and some planned. And we had a litany, I couldn't even get them all out. You know, and the other municipalities and folks that talked about what they were doing still seem to be in that vague, foggy, we're thinking about this. We're gonna have a group doing something, you know, or we're just here to listen. Which is really,
Frederick City?
yeah, wow. Yeah, I know of no other municipality who's done it who's even pledged to do one or two of the items we've done. So Westminster is on the map.
That's good.
Plus, that group inspired me to think about other ways we can leverage in that there are gonna be other Liberty trees, like the one up at Union Mills. There'll be one in Frederick with the DAR, and I was thinking we could do some sort of linkage where we have some part of a website saying, you know, if you wanna visit all the Liberty trees in our little area or in the county or something, or in the heritage area, this is the, you know, where you can visit all the Liberty trees.
I don't know, somehow I think a driving tour to go look at tree saplings
By
might have a little bit of people.
the time it is done, they may be bigger.
Like, they'll be 4 foot.
They'll be 4 foot high instead of 2 foot high.
So, yeah, I mean, it's good that people would know where they are, but I'm not sure that it's gonna be a big seller into the tourism.
Oh, I can't, I'm willing to give it if it's a digital thing, it's just anything.
Yeah.
So maybe we might wanna think about a digital tab, however, just like we have the email digital tab for 250th events.
Now, these other
Somewhere.
tours, like I know Union Mills has one, you said the DAR's plenty, so are they putting signs and markers or anything on them? They're just
As far as I
sticking them
know,
in the ground?
Yeah, I think he emails
Just
just
like all the live oak saplings that people don't know are live oak saplings.
honestly, whatever we do, they're gonna copy. If they can, if they can manage it.
Trendsetters.
We're trendsetters, honestly. Gotta say. We're just real quick, so I don't want the mayor common council, but I am be aware that this is. Done. And guys have been spectacular. Well, you're the best cheerleader, I should say. Do that, you guys. You know, we took left, this to the last cost. The 2026 and then let's, I really think it's gonna show what, here's the thought. Thank you. Thank you for letting us put this on here constantly. But I think it looked great. It was again talking about DMOs. DMOs here was director of marketing. Destination marketing, things similar, yeah. That's the county position for tourism. And I always kind of forget that the heritage area is half education and half arts and adults, literally tourism. And I always have to picture myself and say, yeah, anything else exists for tourism. Yeah, it's like what is their phrases? Economic development, I mean, it's definitely true, it's just so much easier for me to focus on the street part. So it was an interesting presentation, talked a lot about things that, put together a lot of concepts that weren't necessarily new to me, but it was all kind of condensed into one presentation. It was interesting. Anybody else in this one? Okay. So that little moment of pride was fantastic. So if there's nothing else under the 250, we can move on to commissioner comments. Yes. Comments, how about it? No, I don't think I have anything to add. Must skip me and come back, how about it? Mark, anything new?
So staff has been, not me, but my staff. Something to thank you guys for. I've been going up and down Main Street, taking pictures of signs. You know, all signage, signs that are committed, signs that are out. Blinking signs, I've asked for videos of these. This is all gonna go together for. Future presentation with the mayor and common council at a work session. So
Did we plan on being there?
I believe it's open, so yeah, when I have a date, and I'll ask, I have my department head meeting tomorrow, I'll bring that up. But it's a work session, I believe it is open, so.
That, you know, that Green Street project that's coming up that we discussed earlier today. 287 East Green Street, 285 to 289 East Green Street. They made a point of saying their signs were gonna be painted on the walls, so they wouldn't be sticking out. I mean, that's really good citizen behavior of being very cognizant of not having signs that are not sympathetic with the historic district. We wanna catch people doing the right thing.
And I'll put the offer out there again, if there are sign regulations that you're familiar with. Specifically historic district sign regulations that touch on lighting. And anything, and send that my way.
I think
More eyes, more people looking.
I found some,
The better.
I sent to you.
I don't remember. You could have sent them to me, send them again.
I'll send it
My
again.
email's been wonky.
Was some of that incorporated into the sign commission or whatever it was a couple of years ago here?
No, it's the sign commission, it was,
That's different.
it is and it isn't, so the sign commission. And that's coming back around too, that was looking at globally the city as a whole. District based, not content based, and you know, if you have a commercial business, you get X number of square feet. So I was looking at that, it got a little bit into the design of it, but not really. You know, other than what is a wall mounted, what is a blade sign, what is a monument sign. But it didn't get into this type of detail. There is the standards for renovation that do talk more about signage that we do hold people downtown. They're subject to. Downtown's the only place that blade signs are really listed as an allowed sign type. And that's how when downtown, we've really held the no illumination, interior illumination of signs. You know, exterior but not interior. Again, it'd be nice if that was more part of the actual ordinance itself, so. So I think the sign, we'll bring that back up, but I think this is more related to historic downtown, signage downtown, which may be treated. You know, differently than you would obviously historic district versus something in 140 that's a commercial strip center.
Yeah, out at Roopsville or something.
Not to say that some of these elements shouldn't be equally required throughout the city, but I think downtown is the start.
All right.
I do have one thing to add.
Sure.
It appears that the Carroll 250 Fall History Expo is coming up on October 4th, which is a rebranding of the Fall History Expo. That usually happens in October. And I wanted to see if there was interest in attending, and if so, I might need to order some more swag items. So this is Saturday, October 4th from 9 a.m. to noon, and that is at the library or the Exploration Commons.
So I know I have a conflict on that day,
Okay.
standing conflict. What time is it?
9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
I could possibly be there from 8:30 to 9:30 to set up.
Yeah,
I'll
How
do
you
it.
guys doing?
My Saturdays are chewed up with
yeah, you can probably do it.
my other commitment, so I have to play that by ear. I mean, normally my Saturdays right now, I'm committed. But in the fall, it's sort of week to week, and I just have to see what the schedule.
And there's two other commissioners out here, but
Right.
just wanted to put that, I was like, I knew it was coming up and I hadn't looked at the date yet, so.
Yeah, I should be able to do it.
As I recall, it's not really overwhelming in people, so Kathy ought to be able to handle it.
The only problem might be cleanup, because that tote definitely won't fit in my car.
Oh my goodness, we did away with that tote. That tote's too heavy and it's just,
It's too much.
doesn't work.
No,
Yeah,
you need to put less stuff in.
yeah,
You could probably put in half the brochures for this event.
yeah.
But I understand it's very easy to make that kind of storage year round for stuff. And then when the event comes, you just grab it, but we have 4 times as many brochures as we really need.
Or keep that one and just have a smaller one that you actually.
And we got a like a wheelie cart that works much
Little hand
nicer.
crank.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, sorry about that, we tried to be helpful.
It was
It
great.
backfired on us.
Just not too big for my little car, but
Yeah,
I didn't mind anything except for that last heft up into the back of my car, that last. That was
obviously
the
I
hard part.
removed some of those education kids at HSCC.
No, never.
That industrial one,
No, those
definitely
trunks.
industrial strength.
All right, so I'm the last one to make comments. So yes, I will be out of town that first week of September. I might possibly be here, let's put it that way. I know I'm in Greece by the 4th. So I have not gotten that 100% surety. We leave 3rd and I have to be out of here by then, or if we leave the 4th. But I'm gonna be out of town, and I'm gonna be out of town until at least the 17th. So I just think y'all ought to have a plan. If I just end up saying, look, I'm in Dulles at 9 o'clock at night, I can't be here at 6.
I'll just have you on video from the airport security line.
I haven't done that, I have done Zooms where I'm literally traveling somewhere. But I don't think that'd be appropriate for this. So Chris, your vice chair.
Yeah, can we talk about the schedule offline?
Sure.
Yeah, that's.
Just have to make sure we have. Anything else for the good of the group? I think we had a good night tonight. So some really much improved historic structures reports, so that's great. So with that,